Good evening, everyone. Chip Cooper for FTC Guardian and my partner, Alan Cutts. We're going small tonight. Look down in the right-hand corner of your screen and you should see us there. We're having a little Ethernet issue, but this is how we're going to solve it. So you can see us small tonight. Also, you'll be seeing the slides on the bigger view there, the bigger screen. So before we get started, I don't really have anything of interest to share with you. Usually I do, but there's just not been that much going on that's new and interesting. So I'm going to punt.
You just got a brand new smoker.
Oh, that's right. Okay. So I had one. Been out on the balcony for 8 years with the salt air blowing around on it, and it finally just died on me. So I got a new one and put it together last Saturday and Sunday, and it was an adventure. The instructions were not the instructions for the cooker that I bought, so I had to go online, and then there's some parts missing, so I had several trips to Ace Hardware, but I got it going and everything's fine. So yeah, that's
and you did all this.
What about you, Alan?
And you did all this because you've got a big smoke coming up in the 1st of November, right?
Yeah, there is a big deal here that may not be big much longer because when Georgia plays Florida, which is a big deal in the SEC about this time of the year every year, for a long time, the game has been played at a so-called neutral location in Florida, which is Jacksonville. Florida drives over on a big bus from Gainesville, which is not that far away, and Florida has to fly in a 300-mile trip from Athens, Georgia. But it's a neutral location, and the stadium is divided precisely in half in terms of the tickets. So it's sort of like a bowl game where it's not a home and home, but you have an equal number of fans there, and it's a big party. It was also called for years the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, but the schools decided to change that name. That didn't change what's going on, though. But anyway, we usually have a party here where I cook barbecue sort of tailgate style for people who don't have tickets and don't want to drive down to Jacksonville for all the craziness for the game. So that's really the reason behind, that I've got a new cooker, that sort of thing. So what do you have, Alan?
Not much. I was down in Salisbury,
Alan.
Maryland. Yeah, you can hear me. You can hear me. Yeah. I was down in Salisbury, Maryland. Did a 100-mile bike ride, what they call a century, this past weekend. So all was good. I had a really good ride, averaged 18.9 miles an hour for 103 miles. So it was good. I feel good.
Yeah, I'm amazed. I don't really like bikes. I mean, I just, I work out at the Y and I do some speed work on the stationary bike. I never really liked it. I just do it because I know I need to. So I tip my hat to Alan for just volunteering to do this because he thinks it's fun. So, all right. So enough said about a couple of interesting things that happened to us. Let's get started. This month, October, we're going to have 2 presentations that deal with some really interesting things related to marketers on the internet, on social media in particular. This one is Instagram is cracking down on meme curators. It's all about meme curators. Are you at risk? The other one is going to be later this month, is going to be on fake term CGI influencers. So there are 2 very interesting presentations, I think, about some interesting things going on social media. So having said that, let's get started here. If I can advance the slide here, let's get started on this particular presentation. And you've seen the housekeeping announcement. It's for informational purposes only, not legal advice, and we're not affiliated with the Federal Trade Commission. All right, so by way of review, if you don't know what a meme is, go to the last 2 bullets on this slide. Generally speaking, it takes the form of an image, possibly a video, and the last bullet as indicates that it relates to internet subcultures and cultures. Now, that's the definition from Wikipedia, but the better way, if you don't understand what a meme is to see an example in just a minute. But this is how a meme is generally created. It starts with a social media post. The post goes viral. The meme is created. And then smart, shrewd marketers use that meme for advertising and marketing, right? And the people who use it are the owners of the intellectual property, the image rights or video rights in the meme, or to other marketers who are licensees of the owner. These are the legal users, the legal marketers and advertisers. But what we're talking about in this presentation would be the second one, where people just borrow, so to speak, the meme, change it a little bit, and these are called meme curators. And that's what we're talking about in this presentation. So a classic example of a meme, a very serious meme, one that made its owners a lot of money, is Grumpy Cat. And I'm very sorry to tell you that Grumpy is now deceased. I think about a year ago, he passed away. But before he did, he enriched his owners. His owners actually had registered copyrights in various images of Grumpy Cat. They also had a registered trademark in the name Grumpy Cat. And they licensed these marks and the images out to others to use in advertising. And here is one that shows you how aggressive the owners of Grumpy Cat used the law to enforce their licensing rights. What you see here is a case where the Grumpy Cat owners sued their own licensee and received an award of $700,000 because the licensee exceeded the scope of the license. In other words, the license had certain limitations around it. You can use it for purpose A, but you cannot use it for purpose B. Or technically, you can use it only for purpose A and no other purpose. And this particular licensee exceeded that limitation and was found liable for both copyright and trademark infringement. So this is a clear example of how meme owners can really enforce their intellectual property rights and have done it. So what is a meme curation, right? This is the classic meme here, Grumpy Cat, Grumpy Cat, Grumpy Cat, there's Grumpy Cat. So what is a classic example of a meme curation? Here it is. You've probably seen this guy, a spokesman for Dos Equis beer. Stay hungry, my friends. You may remember that's what he always finished his little pitch with. So this image is clearly owned by the owners of Dos Equis beer. And you can see on the right, that would be the owner, the copyright owner in the image, right? But then you see the text overlaying the image. We don't always get $18 million in VC funding, but when we do, we create hilarious internet memes about it to tell you the story. So someone else borrowed this image, which of course is owned, copyright owned by the Dos Equis brewing company, I guess, and then was the author of this text you see in white. That is an example of meme curation, adding your text to someone else's meme that can help you in advertising and marketing, right? So now we get to July of this year, July 26, 2019 specifically, and Instagram purges meme accounts. And the result was, let me go back to this slide, the result was 142 memers were shut down without prior notice, including, with those memers, 33 million followers on Instagram of those 142 memers. So it was a huge event. It rocked the world of memers on the internet, specifically Instagram, and it caused quite a stir. And that's really what this presentation is all about. So if you were the owner of some pages on Instagram and then logged in to maybe add some more content, this is the message that surprised you. The link to this photo or video may be broken or the post may have been removed. And this was the only notice they had after the fact that they had been shut down. Now, MarketWatch.com really was interested in this total shutdown by Instagram, and they found this guy named Ben, or they call him Ben. That's a pseudonym for him. He's a kid, 15 years old, and the headline you see here, that this teenager was making $4,000 a month reposting memes on Instagram until he got purged. So he's one of the so-called victims. And then look at the blue text on the left side, bottom there. Ben told MarketWatch his pages earned him $4,000 a month, which is pretty good for a 15-year-old kid. and were his only salary. He made the money through selling shout outs. A shout out is a type of recommendation that you get paid for. Users looking to grow their pages paid Ben to promote those pages on his account. So he promoted other memers, other pages, and he got paid for it. That's what happened, and he got shut down. And I'm not going to really go into this, but a quote from a high profile influencer for a shout out. You can see here the pitch. Hey, I post your photo, shout you out in the caption, tag you, and put your link in my bio. The regular price is $30, but I'll do it for $20. So it strikes me that if that's all the memers are getting for a shout out, you really have to do a lot of these to earn $4,000 a month. But that's what was going on in terms of the shout outs. Now, here's an example of what Ben did as a memer, right? This was his spicy MP4 account. So if you look here, you see an image here of a woman, I think, blowing a straw. And if you look on the right side of that image, you see a person there in the smaller image who looks a lot like PewDiePie, the gamer, who I believe now has exceeded 100 million followers, which is just more than I can comprehend on social media. So this is the additional language added to this image right here by Ben. You ask,
Hey, Chip,
yeah,
we're still stuck on, hey, I post your video, shout out in this caption. Is that what we're all looking at?
yeah, this one right here. So I've gone back to it, and now I'm going to advance it.
Yeah, I'm on a text message or something like that, what I see.
So what you should see is a header at the top saying Ben's
Nope.
MP4 account. Do you see that?
Nope.
Well,
try to go forward again or just, it's stuck. Where it says, thanks, Brad.
so we're not really getting anywhere here. So the last thing you can see is this image of a cell phone.
Yeah, we saw the blow up engine. Yeah, the next one was a blow up of it.
A quote. That's where I am now. I'm back to it, and now I'm going to go to this image with the header "Spicy MP4 account."
I see the phone right now.
Okay, well,
there we go. Now we see Ben.
See it now?
Yep, Ben.
So then I'm going to zoom in on this, right? Can you see the zoom of that same image?
Yep, it's lagging. Yep, I see it now.
Okay, so this is an image of someone, an older woman doing something sort of crazy. And if you look there to her right, the image is right with the orange headphones and the guy's looking at the ceiling laughing, we believe that that is an image of one of the greatest influencers of all time named PewDiePie, who I believe, reading recently, he had 100 million followers. So this is the meme, right, of the woman. And then this is the language there. You ask, here it is, you ask where, meaning where this is from. It's from TikTok. This guy makes these weird ass videos with no effort put into them of his nan badly singing popular songs. I do not find this funny because I know who is behind the image, which apparently is PewDiePie. You can find it funny though. So to me, this doesn't resonate. Okay, I'll admit it openly and without shame. If I took the time to read this and look at the image of PewDiePie and the woman there, I wouldn't think it's funny. But I'm not cool sometimes, I guess, right? So this is an example of what Ben was doing, making $4,000 a month that got shut down, right? And even Ben says, I gave the meme owner credit, right? But if you've been a member very long with FTC Guardian, you know that taking someone else's copyrighted material, such as this image of this woman, and using it without permission, then you're a copyright infringer. Giving credit really doesn't work. But if you're 15 years old, you're probably not up to speed on copyright law, and thinking that if you just give credit, which I guess is that photograph of PewDiePie along with using one of his handles, TikTok, is a way to give him credit. And within the world of memers, this is sort of cool. And a lot of people find it very funny, and they read these things all the time. So, it's really very popular, particularly on Instagram. Not very funny to me, but this is a classic example, and it got shut down. So this is a post by Ben. So my meme page got deleted with no warning. I've been pre-screening everything I post to make sure it doesn't violate terms of service, and I still get banned, ? So he's just absolutely shocked that Instagram banned him and a lot of others. But why did it happen? Why did Instagram purge all of these meme accounts back in July of this year? Well, Instagram stated what you probably see, or hopefully in black text, that the memers were violating the terms of service for Instagram. And you see the black bullets there. Well, let me go back. You see the black bullets: selling and purchasing usernames, fraudulent attempts to obtain usernames, violations of internal processes. Well, I'm here to argue that that's just BS. That's really not why Instagram purged all of these meme accounts. Now, those rules are part of the Instagram terms of service, but that's not why Instagram shut them down. The real reason is copyright liability is a strict liability offense. And so by merely posting or hosting all of these images that the memers were putting up there without permission, Instagram could be held liable for copyright infringement. There would be a lot of takedown notices by DMCA. And if you don't understand what that is, look it up in the members area. And so you see the second bullet in red. I made sure that I gave credit to everybody. Well, not so. And the only thing that could save Ben from a copyright infringement perspective is the fair use defense. But the way he was using these images of others, fair use didn't really apply. So this is a clip of the Instagram terms of service. And you see in blue there the ones I just mentioned. But you see in red, you cannot post private or confidential information or do anything that violates someone else's rights, including intellectual property. That's the real reason this got shut down. Instagram just felt like it was just getting out of hand and that they might end up being a defendant in a copyright infringement lawsuit. So here we are at the end of the presentation. The takeaways are that this internet meme subculture doesn't really understand copyright because they believe if you just give credit, that's enough. But that's not enough in terms of copyright law. And we need to go back only as far as the grumpy cat situation to understand that meme owners can have, serious rights if they want to actually impose a claim or defend their rights to copyrights and also trademarks in their memes. So in July of this year, 132 memers were shut down, and 33 million followers were affected by it. And so in order to sort of make up for the bad press, Instagram actually hired a strategic partnership manager to somehow focus on meme accounts. But I have no idea what can be done other than maybe to educate these people on what copyright law is all about. So for that reason, the last bullet says meme curators face a risky and uncertain future. The tags meme, Instagram, copyright, and fair use. So Alan, we're through the presentation. Do you see any questions or comments?
Are you saying that Instagram is shutting down sites of meme owners as well as
they're shutting down
or only the curators?
They're shutting down the curators' accounts and pages on Instagram.
Okay.
That's what got shut down with no notice. And there was such an uproar over it and a lot of bad press over it because a lot of these people are very creative, granted, clearly very creative and having a lot of fun. A lot of them are very young people. and they all suffered. And a lot of 33 million users, is a lot. So they're trying. Instagram is trying to figure out a way to sort of corral these members, and they've hired this management person to do it. I just don't understand how they're going to do it, because it still comes back to copyright law. And I guarantee you, if one of them had taken one of the grumpy cat images and tried to make a meme curate a meme out of it, they'd get sued. So how do you separate the meme owners who just don't care and think it's cool that other people are curating their memes from the meme owners, like the owners of Grumpy Cat, who are going to sue you, right? How do you separate that out, and how do you know who's just going to play ball and really not care as long as you give them credit, even though technically it's copyright infringement, versus the people who really will file a lawsuit? That's really the key to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Sue posted she posted a question, is go back to the beginning comment, please. And I don't know what she means. Her comment earlier, because she says that photo of the beard guy and many others like that are all over memes and graphic creation sites found on photos. And it's just a statement. I don't know.
Well, so we're going to go back to one of my favorite guys. Wait a minute. Can you see it going back?
Yeah.
It's got to be here pretty quick.
Yeah, go slow. So don't come. Right now it's stuck at July 26th. There we are. That's Ben's at right there.
But this is where we wanted to go here, right?
That's July 26th, 19. That's
this is the old dude with the beard.
The Corona guy. Yeah, that's the Corona guy right there.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if you go to one of these sites where you can download these images, you are assuming, I guess, if you read the terms of service, that they have rights to allow you to download the images, right? And if that's the case, you're in great shape, because now you become a licensee of a clearinghouse, apparently, that has rights to grant you that sublicense, right? So you've got the owners of all these images theoretically granting sublicense rights to this clearinghouse, which will then allow you to download and use it, right? So if all these permissions have been granted and the licensing is there, then you're risk free. But if that hasn't happened and you don't have permission of the owner of the image, either through this clearinghouse or directly from the owner of the image, then technically it's copyright infringement.
Yeah. So Wayne says, what would happen if I created a whole heap of memes and sold them to business owners for their use only under license? How will Insta know who is the license and who's not?
Well, I mean, basically what you're saying is, how do you replicate the success of Grumpy Cat's owners, right? Because they had this cat. As I understand the story, I read about it several years ago, but as I understand it and can recall it, it started the same way that slide showed you, the sort of the life cycle of a meme that was posted on social media, and people thought the cat was really crazy funny because he had this frown on his face all the time. So all of a sudden his owner said, well, let's create a meme out of him. So they said, they came up with all these funny sayings about, I can't think of one, but things that you might think a grumpy cat might say, yeah. Right? And then it continued to build momentum, and somebody apparently would talk to a lawyer and say, look, what you ought to do to commercialize these images, which are very popular, is to get a copyright on the images of Grumpy Cat and to get a trademark on his name, because he had this name, Grumpy Cat, which was done. And then they entered into license agreements with various advertisers for their products. And you saw one example here, an image of Grumpy Cat on a bottle of some beverage, right? So the owners were making some pretty serious money licensing these images under license agreements that had very strict boundaries to what could be done. You can use this for certain beverages, but that's it. And in this particular case, the licensee exceeded the scope of the license and got sued recovered $700,000. So, if you can generate the interest in images like the owners of Grumpy Cat did, yeah, you can make some serious money. And that's one of the classic examples right there. So
Yeah.
rather than curating somebody else's, you really should be focusing on developing your own memes if you can, and somehow getting a following for them. And once you do that, you can license rights very easily.
Yeah. I mean,
All
I
right.
I know on YouTube they're having the same thing, not as much with memes or and photos, but with music, because people are creating these videos that you and I like to watch on sailing or whatever that is, and they always have this music in there. And if you listen to some of my, because I've been listening to some guys who develop the videos, and they have to be really careful with the music that they tie to the videos that they post. And most of them these days are using music that YouTube is supplying them because YouTube's already made them licensable to be used on YouTube.
Right.
Um,
And I think those license, I've never read the license, but I think the license requires whoever is a sub licensee from YouTube to give credit, right? And so at the end of these sailing videos, which I watch and been watching for a year or more, you'll always see a lot of great music backing up these travel logs of people on cruising sailboats. And at the very end, you'll see about maybe a dozen credits of the music used. So that's apparently one of the requirements for the sub license, not payment, just giving credit.
yeah, Michelle, uh, what do I look for on stock image companies to know that it's safe for me to use the images in her case, Facebook ads?
Well, I use for the images that I use for Hangouts and for our webinars and also for Hangouts that such as these. I typically use dreamstime.com, and they will clearly state that if you have a monthly account, which is what I do, that you have certain rights, that you can use these images in certain ways. And so you just make sure that, when you sign up and pay money, that you're staying within the boundaries of those licenses.
Yeah, I have an
So
account. I have an account with Depot Photos or Photo Depot or something like that. And one of the things I make sure when I use them for Facebook ads is not only do I have use of it, but I have commercial use.
right,
And, that,
exactly.
and a lot of them have, you can click on an image, say, oh, I really like it, but then I click on I want commercial use, and it's not available for commercial use. It's only available for personal use. But I know immediately if I put it up as an ad, that's commercial. So you want to make sure you have commercial use of a photo. And the same thing if you go to just Google. If you Google up an image and you click, there's a little search bar up there. If you click commercial use, you'll see the number of photos go down to a real small amount that they'll tell you that it's available for commercial use. Um, so you just want to make sure you have commercial use for anything like that. And Stu has it made a statement. I don't trust these creation sites anymore because I know someone who was getting sued because of a background music. Well, she's talking about music. For the background music she used behind her meme and actually not in public domain. And that's, you've got to be real careful because a lot of people are just popping up doing a lot of music and stuff like that. So yeah, you've got to be careful where you get it from and make sure it's a very legitimate spot. Well,
Right. But if it is legitimate and they have rights to then pass on to you as a sub licensee, they would be the licensee from the owner. And then they are given rights to commercially, allow you to download it and use it. Of course, you've got to pay for it as well. So,
I mean,
as long
I don't mind telling you, we got nailed. FTC Guardian, we got nailed for what, $350 for
for what?
that photo. We got a letter on that photo of the Federal Trade Commission that I used.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It was sort of a surprise, but yeah, we paid. I can't remember where did we get the image?
Oh, I got it because I thought I got it from you because you used it on the book, but the one that you got on the book, you got it and hired somebody to change it.
Yeah, I hired an artist to actually create an image which looked a lot like an image that you see, if you search on Google.
Yep.
In other words, and it looked a lot like this one, but
Yep.
I created it. I got 2 or 3 parts, and I sent them to an artist, and I said, combine these parts to look sort of like this image, right?
Yep.
And so they did, and I used it on the cover of a book.
Yep.
So
And then
I know that the
I
three
got
images,
one like it. Yeah, then I got one like it that I thought was the same one. And Chip got a letter from somebody.
a clearinghouse that's enforcing these things.
Yeah,
Enforcing
the clearinghouse, and we had to take the photo down, and it was just on our articles page. It was just in part of one of our articles, and we had to take it down and pay $350.
Yeah, so I was very careful to get the images from a reliable source that I paid for. Then I went to the artist and said, "Now you combine these to look sort of like this," and I paid for that as well.
Yep.
So so I'm safe for my use of the image on a book cover, right? The latest book that we have on compliance, the one with the blue background.
Yep.
It's that one, I believe.
Yep.
So, but you found an image that looked a lot like the one that I had created, but it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't.
And somebody followed up on it and wanted to get a payment.
Yep.
So
Yep.
we had to cough up $350. We were somewhat sheepish about it. But it's the first time I've been accused of infringing anything. Well, not directly, but our company was accused of it, and they were right. You know, we didn't have rights to it. We thought we did. So.
Yep. Yep.
Anything else?
I don't see anything else. Kathy just says, I remember Getty bought up a bunch of free images. Yeah.
Getty was notorious. I remember several years ago getting calls from people where they were nailed by some law firm and claimed that they wanted a check for $7,000 for the use of an image.
Yep.
Not $350, which is what we were nailed for, $350, $7,000. And that went on for 2 or 3 years until there was such an outcry over it, they backed off.
Yep.
But that was a very, very, very aggressive one.
Yep. Yep. All right. That's about it. So next month is, or not next month, but next one is about what? The next Hangout.
Next month is fake influencers instead of real.
The end of this month. The end of this month.
Yeah, instead of real influencers like PewDiePie playing games on YouTube videos, we now have CGI creations, fictitious people sort of masquerading as real people on social media, particularly in the world of fashion and beauty products. And it's very interesting, very creative use of social media. So this month is sort of devoted the 2 Hangouts to very creative ways to use social media to make money.
Yeah.
And that's what the next one's going to be about at the end of this month.
And then I think the first one in November is about YouTube and some new regulations that YouTube has put in for people.
I believe that's correct.
Yeah,
yes.
There's been a big push started that last month with YouTube shutting down some of these people that have these big channels that are posting stuff. Most of them are in the, let's call it 13 and under category.
Right. It's relating to the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, known as, however you want to pronounce it, COPA or COPPA.
Yep.
And so we'll cover that because it's big news right now. And that's what we're here for, to cover, the new developments. But, really, if you just look at this one, we covered this new development involving meme curation, but we really got back to the fundamentals of what copyrights are all about, right? Yep. So in covering some of these new developments, it's not all new. It's just a new twist on some law that we've covered several times before in different contexts. So this next situation is going to be talking about, do these fictitious people have to make a disclosure that they're being paid for their endorsements? I mean, this is just like a cartoon. Does the cartoon character have to give a disclosure that they're getting paid for this endorsement of a beauty product? I mean, so it's sort of ridiculous, but we'll talk about it next month or at the end of this month, and the lessons from it can be applied to real world situations that you're involved in, even if you're not doing CGI influencers.
Yep.
So stay tuned. It'll be interesting. I guarantee it. All right.
Yep.
That's all from me. Good night, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Good night.